I just got back from being outside, and this is the perfect time to do this. You can run, but you can't hide. Or in my case, you can't run and you can't hide from dealing with it. So here's a personal story about finding contentment when it seems like there was very little to be happy about or grateful for at the time. Last year at the beginning of April, during a run, I injured my knee. And that feeling of a slight click and pop in my right knee gave me instant feelings of dread. Running has served as a great source of stress relief and escape for me in the past. If I were going to be locked down, what the heck was I going to do to help me pass the time? This may not seem like a big deal to some of you, but this was my form of escape and stress release. I cleared my head. Now that that was going to be taken away from me, and it even hurt to walk, what was I going to do? As I limped home, I pondered how this was all going to play out, and I knew I had two choices. I could accept it, or I could let the disappointment take over and really drag me down. The truth is, I ain't getting any younger. So I made up my mind that about two things after seeing my sports therapist doctor and I got the proper diagnosis. The first was that I had to accept where I was and try to rehab myself, knowing it would take time and might change the way I did things in the past moving forward. And more scary, this might mean I might have to change some things about how I was doing things completely. Secondly, I had to adapt, and that meant I might have to give up some of the pace, frequency, and possibly some of the sports I was doing moving forward. I decided that rather than feel devastated by this, now was the perfect time to readjust my thinking. After all, I had nothing but time during that first lockdown. So I started stretching and walking instead of running, which at first I found to be more of a grind, and sometimes it was unbearable or intolerable, I guess. But that was really just my mindset. So in order to make it feel better, I started listening to podcasts, which turned out to be really great. I found the multitasking really worked well for me. I could listen to a cast and then not feel guilty I was wasting my time, but I was also doing something physical, and I was out there walking. And then I started walking with my neighbors regularly, which was also great because it gave me some much needed human interaction, connection, fresh air, and exercise. More importantly, I've learned not to dwell on what I couldn't do, and by rehabbing myself back to a level I can live with, I'm happy to report that I can actually run again. And even though I'm careful and I'm taking precautions to not let the injury happen again by wearing a brace, it's not the same. It's never going to be the same as it was before, but I found the satisfaction in my new normal, and I'm quite happy about it. So I've adjusted my expectations of what I can reasonably do so I don't re-injure myself, and I'm staying active. Really, when it's all said and done, it's accepting that I can't do what I used to, and that's okay. When I do run, I enjoy it even more, and in fact, I'm really grateful for it. I chose to be content with what I am capable of doing, knowing that in the future, there may be other things that I'm going to come up against that I was once able to do well, that I will now find more difficult or maybe even near impossible. But I won't let it define me or dictate my own level of happiness. I will have to move on with the changes and find new levels for myself. Sometimes we have to accept the changes in order to find the contentment in your life and roll with those punches. Who knows, maybe my new sport pickleball will take me to places I never thought possible besides on the street with my neighbors. Oh, there might be even a beverage or two there. Have fun, everybody.